and then on the anniversary thereafter, you're going to focus on the cash flow coming in and out of the business, because what we've seen is that cash flow has an impact on the value of a company. And I want to make a strong distinction here between profits that you'd see on a profit and loss statement and cash flow that you'd see in a bank account. Really, the valuation teeter-totter exercise and module is really focused on the latter, cash coming into the bank. As you know, a profit and loss statement is an accountant's interpretation of the profitability of a company, but that doesn't necessarily line up directly with cash coming into the bank account. And so really in valuation teeter-totter, we're really talking about cash on hand, the availability of cash in the business. And what we've seen is that as you decrease the amount of working capital a company needs to operate, working capital being the money you have on hand to pay your immediate obligations, payroll, rent, etc. As you reduce the amount of working capital your company needs, you increase its value. And the reason for that is very simple. When an acquirer buys a company, they're writing two checks. They're writing a check, of course, to the owner to buy the business, but they're also writing a check to the company it's acquiring to fund its working capital. The nuance here is that both of those checks are drawn from the same account, the acquirer's account. So the less working capital the business needs, the lower the check that the acquirer needs to write to fund its working capital, and therefore they're more apt to spend on the overall business itself. Well, the opposite is also true. If the company needs lots of cash to just meet its day-to-day obligations, it buys a lot of expensive inventory or a lot of expensive equipment, for example, then an acquirer is going to reasonably decide that they are going to have to fund that working capital. And that's going to take money out of their account to fund that working capital, and they're going to be less inclined to pay full price for the business. So these things work like a child's teeter-totter, the old playground toy that you've played on, I'm sure. The heavy kid gets on, the light kid goes up. These things work in concert that way. So that's how to think about the valuation teeter-totter exercise and how cash flow affects the overall value of a business.